And welcome back to News Hour. It is the second part. And fellow Kenyans, if you treat this season, the man himself who gave us those words, and for 2 years we kept them ringing in our minds to save us from COVID. Senator, you know I still call you Senator, the funniest thing. Every time I see you, because we became friends when you were Senator.
It is still my name.
And
once a Senator, always a Senator.
Always a Senator. Yes. But he was CS Health. And the day you were taking over, CS Health, I was also there. So good to see you.
I remember. Thank you very much. Thank you for welcoming.
Where have you been?
Well, I was here the other day on Spice. You know, for your information, Ken. We've been around, but of course we are retired. So we are retired but not tired. And we have been on a break and watching you people and watching the country and seeing what is going on.
And this country is going through unprecedented times. I want to talk to you about that. But I want to look back, just kidogo. The lessons we learned in those 2 years. We are going through unprecedented times. These are what we call extraordinary times that need extraordinary measures. Waziri, what did we learn about managing crisis then? You were right at the thick of things. And this time, is there any parallels you would draw at that time and this time?
A crisis is a crisis is a crisis. You know, so the issue of where we are today and the fact that there is a serious conflict, you know, in our nation is a crisis. So when you are faced by a situation that is abnormal, you know, to go back to treating situations normally and abnormally, when you are faced by a situation that is clearly abnormal, you cannot treat it as business as usual. That's the long and short of it.
Whether it's politics or whatever
it does not matter whether it is politics, it doesn't matter whether it's economic, social, or cultural. You have got to face the situation as it is, not as you'd want it to be, not as you dream it to be, but as the situation itself warrants. In this crisis, for example, this is a political crisis.
Yes.
And there is no question about it that we have got a group of people who have made demands that are legitimate. And therefore, you cannot treat the situation and say, if I continue behaving this way, it is going to wash itself away. It won't.
It's not going away.
It's not going to go. No situation goes away just by virtue of you waiting for it to go away. Situations go away because you have tackled the issue of the day, because you have addressed the matter, you have looked at why the situation is happening, and you have been addressing it head on. So waiting for it to take itself away, or assuming that time is going to resolve it, time is neutral. You know, it is not going to resolve it. It can make it worse. So in terms of just by way of answering the question that you have asked, the way to handle any situation and the way to handle this situation is to ask yourself, why is it wrong in the first place? Why is there a crisis in the first place?
Why are we here?
Why are we here?
Yes.
If you get to the bottom of that question, and if you answer that question honestly, not just to yourself, but to others as well, you will be on the way to resolving the crisis.
Don't you think the responses that the government has put in place, fire the cabinet, right? Withdraw the finance bill, fire the cabinet, try to do a broad-based government, all these interventions, going to the X spaces, unprecedented, doing a town hall, unprecedented. Don't you think these are interventions that can potentially diffuse what's going on?
I think, I just said to you, Ken, go to the reasons why there is a crisis in the first place. The crisis in the first place was not because there was no X
spaces.
That is not why there was a crisis. The reason why there was a crisis in the first place, while the finance bill was a symbol and symptom of the problem was not that one. The problem was that in terms of the complete outlook of governance, in terms of the philosophy of governance, there is certain things that are going wrong. There are certain things that people want. If you're talking about the provisions of jobs, if you're talking about increased cost of living, that is the issue. Even if you make a cabinet and a GNU, a GU, whatever you make, unless it is by way of providing for the provisions that those who have demonstrated are looking for, unless you address the real issues, and unless you say, I am forming this government in order that we address these issues that you have raised, then it's really of no use. Therefore, I don't want to dismiss the measures that the president himself has been trying to do. But sitting here, what I can simply say is this. The question you must ask yourself before you take the next step, before you call this GNU, before you draw the bill, is to say to yourself, we are going to do this and therefore provide for this aspect that was there by the question by the Gen Zs. The provision of this aspect will be provided as follows. But you can withdraw a bill and return it. You can cause a GNU of no consequence. So the issue is, how is what we are doing addressing the issues that the Wanainchis are complaining about?
Let me ask you a direct question, Waziri. The fact that the president returned 8 of the former cabinet secretaries, is that a spite on these people's face, the people who are calling for the sacking of the cabinet, or from where you say it's an intervention, not adequate but sufficient?
You know, Ken, you want me to deal with symptoms. You know, you're asking me to deal with the symptoms of the disease. Instead of
not
asking,
the disease.
You're not asking me about the disease.
I'm going to ask you about the disease.
I am, you know, so
yes.
Whether you bring in X or whether you bring in Y, whether you fire B and you fire A, what matters is this, and what is important is this. What is the perception you have given to the masses?
With your action.
What is it you are telling me by what you have acted? We agreed that we are going to have people who can solve this problem. That is why we are talking about the cabinet in the first place.
Yes.
So have you given me the cabinet that can solve that problem? If you have, well and good. That's how we are going to deal with it. If you haven't, then we haven't solved the problem that we said in the first place.
So we are back to where we were.
We are back to where we started. I am saying, Ken, you can make 1,000 changes of 1,000 things. But unless and until we have addressed the real issue of the day, unless we are saying this is to provide for the cost of living, this is to provide for reduced taxes for the business community, this is to provide for a whole government approach to supporting growth, unless that is what you are saying,
we are right there in the thick of things.
We are right back where you started.
I'm tempted to think and see that there's something you're seeing that I can't see from where I'm sitting. What are you seeing? What is this you're seeing? I'm tempted to think, because I'm listening to you, and I think there's something you're seeing that I don't see. What are you seeing?
What I'm seeing is frustration, all right? What I'm seeing is a sense of frustration. And I'm sure you are seeing the same, Ken. If you came down to it, what you are seeing is a sense of frustration. And what you are thinking, and Kenyans love peace. And Kenyans want their nation to prosper. The frustration they are feeling is that here we are, we want our nation to prosper. It is not prospering. Why isn't it prospering?
Why are we stuck here?
If Ken is here and he is saying, I can see the solution to the problem, all right? And Odhiambo is there and he's saying, I can see the solution to the problem. Why isn't those who govern us seeing the solution to the problem? I think that is a sense of frustration.
A good place to take a break. Waziri stays with me. We are back at the top of the hour. That's in less than 20 minutes, and we are going to discuss this wholesome.